A day of rest? No, not for us,
Nope.
folks. Welcome to the Sunday edition of the Field of 68's Best Bets show, presented as always by BetRivers. I am Jim Root. I'm the host today. We are the three-man weave, ready to walk you through a tantalizing slate, guys. I kind of like this for a Sunday slate. We've got some intriguing games out there, some high major games with small spreads. We like to see that. Kai, let's start with you. Any takeaways from yesterday? I mean, feel free to review Spider-Man. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Whatever you got for us.
I enjoyed Spider-Man. It was a good flick. I'm excited for the continuation of the Marvel Universe. But yesterday, DePaul didn't show up, guys. They let this boy down, and Matt, our Chicago Big East team, continues to be the dumpster in conference play. Good job, Providence. Way to go. On to the next one, Matthew.
Yeah, what's the saying? You can't paint a pig, or you can't paint a pig.
Makeup on a pig, or lipstick on a pig.
Thank you. Lipstick on a pig. That's what I'm. Yeah, thank you. That's DePaul. You know, duped we were. So I'm just going to pile on this one because this was very frustrating. It's a team that I was starting to believe in, Jim. Like, talent was there. David Jones played, and we talked at length about the asterisks next to all of Providence's when it just set up for such a good effort from the Demons, and the womp deflation of energy was apparent. But quick nod to Turkanian Smith with the half quarter to get us 2.5 on the right side.
Turquavian.
Turquavian? That's
It's Turquavian.
Turquavian. Turk. Thank you. Your service.
Tarkanian? You think it's UNLV's?
Yeah, Jerry Tark.
I basically kind of going off the DePaul thing, guys. My takeaway was that if you had bet a lot of games with your preseason expectations, you'd have done really good. Like Villanova being the best team in the Big East, winner. DePaul being the absolute worst in the Big East, winner. Memphis athleticism being overwhelming, winner. Texas being outstanding defensively. West Virginia obviously shorthanded, winner. Baylor the better undefeated team. I guess they wouldn't have covered.
They didn't cover. Yeah, wow.
So that's fair.
Yeah, Iowa State hung around.
Credit to them.
And then sadness on my best bet or one of my best bets as Josh Mballa ruled out right before the game.
Oh, yeah,
it's basically the MAC Player of the Year caliber guy. So that was a bummer on that loser. But without further ado, let's get into this slate, guys. And Matt, we're starting off Michigan State at Northwestern. This is a eerily similar spot to yesterday for a Chicago high major team, power conference team. Short dog hosting what we think is a better team. Are we going back to the well with the Purple Cats, or are you riding the road favorite here?
I'm riding the road favorite. I'm riding them hard. I get so many that you can just kind of go through like a scoring rubric of reasons why this to me is a home run bet. And I almost feel like it's too good to be true. And maybe I'm disrespecting Northwestern, Kai. We've seen Michigan State struggle the last couple of games in these throwaway bye games sandwiched in between some of their first conference games and the gauntlet that's coming up. Max Christie, Marcus Bingham, two important cogs. We expect them to play today. Izzo apparently called Chris Collins and already has confirmed that there's going to be both rosters at full strength. So you get like this rare sense of certainty in the rosters before you, but it's just like hard to find in this COVID era. Yeah, Jim mentioned it's a short road favorite, early conference game. Michigan State's the better team. Northwestern notorious for having strong non-conferences, but sort of stepping back down closer to the, oh yeah, you're still Northwestern, similar to the, oh yeah, you're still DePaul. I think Sparty should be favored by like a touchdown. I think this line's insane. I love Sparty. Wow. I am all in. I don't know what I'm missing here. I've seen some money actually come in early on Northwestern early this morning. I don't get it.
It's come back.
It's come back. Okay, good.
Yeah. I mean,
cool. There's people out there smarter that are agreeing with me. That's good. I like that feeling.
A touchdown. That's high. It's Northwestern's first Big Ten home game of the year, right? It's a chance for Michigan State to go to 3-0. A couple things to play for there. Odds makers did have a lot of respect for Northwestern, opening at 1.5. Ken Palm supports it. They have this a 1-point game. Northwestern's been pretty solid. Their biggest win is against Maryland with, I believe it was the first game Mark Turgeon was out, Danny Manning. So maybe a little bit of an asterisk win. If Sparty's full strength, which we assume they are, Jim, I don't see how Northwestern scores very easily here. Bingham is a great matchup, I think, for Nance, and he's long enough to take on Ryan Young in the paint, who's been great for Northwestern off the bench. The wing size is huge for the Spartans here. I think that really bothers Northwestern shooters. I'm leaning towards Michigan State here.
Yeah, last year, guys, Northwestern's first Big Ten home game, they beat Michigan State by 14.
Wrecked them. Wrecked them.
I would imagine that Tom Izzo remembers Boo Booey going Boo Boo Bananas last year. So yeah, I'm leaning towards Michigan State too. I think the Christie and Bingham absences were gigantic against High Point. Bingham as like a vertical lob threat too against zones. Like Tyson Walker, last time they played a zone, had like 5 assists just throwing him alley-oops, and couldn't do that against High Point. If Northwestern tries to go zone, you can do that again. He's a great rim protector. And then Christie is arguably the best shooter on the team and was really starting to emerge before his little COVID absence. He had a big game against Oakland. So yeah, I am definitely a Spartan as well, Matt. Let's go to battle with Spartans. Hopefully we don't, have the backfire of the home dog showing up this time.
Yeah, let's not. Best bet. I think I need to confirm that's clearly that's like one of the best bets of the season. So it'd be foolish for me not to make it my best bet today. So 2.5 BetRivers. I bet it's going to go to 3 soon. The juice is skewing towards Sparty SC minus 112 at the current price. So hop in now, folks.
There it is. Love it. Wow, love it, Matthew.
Confidence.
All right. On down the outline, guys, to the AAC. UCF headed to SMU. The Knights coming off a massive home emotional win over Michigan, kind of a resume solidifying win. Kai, they went 8 for 8 from deep in the second half in that game. They did not miss. That is how you pull off a huge home victory. This feels like a letdown both in emotion and performance as they head to SMU, even though it is a conference game. Do you trust SMU enough to take advantage of that spot? It
does feel let down, and odds makers shading the line farther than what KenPom suggests, right? KenPom made this 1, which I agree is too short. Odds makers opened at 3.5. I think these teams are pretty even. Matt, UCF has an at-large chance. They won at Miami. Yeah. They win against Michigan. Both those wins are Q2 right now. They could become Q1 as the season progresses.
Yeah, Miami just continues to kick butt, so that win ages like wine.
Yeah, and Michigan, I think, will figure it out eventually. But SMU's won 7 straight. They've covered 5 in a row. After those Mizzou and LMU losses, they've really played better. I think Darius Perry is a good matchup for Kendrick Davis. He's a dog defensively, but maybe no one in the country can stop Davis, even Perry. I think it is kind of SMU's game here, Matt. You have to worry slightly about the glass against the Knights if you're SMU, but it feels like a good spot for them at home. I'm leaning towards the Ponies.
I believe the Ponies are supposed to get Isaiah Jacey back today, a sort of a fringe rotational piece, a guy who I've really not been a fan of, to put it kindly.
Are you saying that's a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing in this matchup because his size and physicality will matter. He's probably their best interior defender, just in a nutshell, but he's a liability on offense. I hope it doesn't come back to haunt me. But just piggybacking on what Kai said, I think his presence would be important here. The Kendrick Davis show, man, just keep it rolling. The Ponies are going strong. They're at home. The letdown spot is very much in play here. It's no bargain, though. I was hoping to catch a -2, -3. I still like it up to -4. But clearly the odds makers are respecting the surge that SMU has been on lately. Laying 4 against them just beat Michigan. And as Kai mentioned, it's an at-large contender.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird line.
Yeah, top 30 team in the country in December if you filter on Bart Torvik. So you just go that month.
There you go.
They were terrific. Matt, here's what I'd do, I think. I'd go SMU first half. You hopefully take advantage more of the letdown emotionally from UCF. Maybe they're a little sluggish. And you hopefully avoid the potential backdoor and collapse that the Ponies want to do. I mean, they kind of did it against Tulsa, nearly gave up that cover after being up double digits in the second half. So I think I would go towards the first half there. It's not my best bet, but I'm considering it because I think it is pretty strong. All right. That's it. Let's move on. Matt, your alma mater, back to Big Ten country here. Indiana headed on the road to Penn State. And I kind of liked Indiana laying less than a field goal, but they have taken money. It is up to 4 now. Not a great free throw shooting team for closing out the game late. Penn State is a terrific, or not terrific, but they slow the game down. So the fact that there won't be many possessions, I just don't know how the Nittany Lions score against this IU defense, Matt. So I still lean towards the Hoosiers.
I agree, Jim. It's too expensive to lay now. It does still feel kind of short. Thinking about the Northwestern game we just broke down, Penn State here, 2 lackluster, to put it nicely, home venues during the heart of break. I don't think it's going to have that same home dog type of feel, even though Penn State's notoriously good at home. Tends to be a house of horrors. I think that plays better later in conference play. The key thing, though, for Penn State, just got Greg Lee back last game, Kai. They don't have much size. They don't have much depth in general. They basically play like a 6.5-man rotation. And our guy, John Harrar, is the only true brute barrier up front that can defend IU's two big lineup with Race Thompson and Trey Jackson Davis. I think you kind of have to go Twin Towers to defend IU effectively here. Race is too nimble and too quick to like play a small ball counter on offense and spread it out and drive it. So Lee's going to be actually a huge addition to this game. Curious how much he plays, curious how effective he is. I still lean IU, but back to my initial point, just is not a cheap price at this point.
Yeah, we got one of the best teams in the conference against the spread. Indiana is actually 8-4 against the number. Penn State, one of the worst, 3-7 against the number. If you like trends, there you go.
Matt loves mid-major transfers on Penn State.
Yeah,
if you do that, you become one of his 10 favorite players in the country.
Jalen Pickett, baby.
This is a big win for IU if they can get it. It's on the road. They don't have a lot of resume wins right now. Notre Dame on a neutral is the best one. We've seen them put in good efforts on the road. They hung with Wisconsin. They took Syracuse to 2 overtimes. Penn State hasn't played since December 11th. We know a lot of teams have been struggling with spotty practice schedules with COVID. Not a whole lot of news that Penn State's been going through that, but you never know. That's a long layoff. I think it's clear that Penn State's not quite to the upper class of these better power conference teams. And I'm not really worried about Harar taking advantage of anybody. And I don't think Trace Jackson Davis can be stopped. So I lean towards IU pretty hard here. 4 is getting pretty steep, Jim, but certainly the opener and 3 would have been a good bet for them.
Yeah, I talked a little bit yesterday about how Creighton's been a dominant rim team, and Indiana's been similar. Just awesome at the rim on both ends of the court. Penn State doesn't really have shooters. They don't take a high volume of threes. So I think they really struggle to score trying to get to the rim against Race Thompson and TJD inside. Lean towards Indiana for sure. All right, one more before we get to Chat Mob, guys. This is Louisville at Georgia Tech in the ACC. Kai, you know what we got here? How the biggest factor of this game?
I know what you're going to say, Jim.
It's the return of the face shield.
Yeah.
the dentist, Josh Pastner, is back. He's wearing the face shield today for, I believe I can't remember if it's Georgia Tech or Atlanta City, requirements or whatever, but he needs to have a face covering and he's bringing it back. We love that. Georgia Tech could also have a return of Bubba Parham today.
Yeah.
I think he was likely to play last game, but was in COVID protocols. Now we get the Louisville team that did sneak a win against Wake Forest. Haven't totally been impressed with them this year, especially on the offensive end. Do you trust them as a road favorite, Mr. McEwen?
Not really. That face shield is worth what, 10 points?
Yeah, at least
something
10.
like that. Louisville's been just frustrating this year. This is a team that should be good. A team that we thought would be good and has the personnel to be good, but losses to Furman, Western Kentucky, DePaul. They snuck by Wake. I mean, they needed a comeback. They didn't quite get the cover. And you have a Georgia Tech team who should have Parham back for this game. That's huge. They've been struggling this year, clearly, and offense has been a reason why, and Parham certainly helps their scoring. They're 0-1 in the ACC. They have 0 wins against a top 40 team in KenPom. I mean, they need a win like blood here, Matt. And they've been competitive in the ACC, even with those not quite as good teams. They've been physical enough and scrappy enough to put together a respectable record in this conference. I actually kind of lean towards Georgia Tech here, as much as I think Louisville has the much more potential to be the better team. I think Georgia Tech's a good bet here at home.
I don't. Pretty out on Georgia Tech. I've seen them play, I think, thrice in the last 4 games. The LSU meltdown was catastrophic. I will continue to beat the drum of how horrible that was as a sort of microcosm for, I think this team's had it. They need Parham badly. They really lack shooting. Right, I've said but we haven't seen him play. We don't know how good he's going to be. I think a good version of him really helps this team because they really lack guard play, and just relying on Jordan Usher to be your kind of co-alpha alongside Michael DeVoe doesn't sit well with me. And just the fact, USC was never really that competitive. Georgia State overtime. It's starting to kind of head in the wrong direction, and I stubbornly believe Louisville is going to be right there at the thick of the ACC conference race. At the end of the day, they had a late surge to pull away last game. Malik Williams struggled in that game, Jim. They could get a better effort from him. Another one of these games, all right? Short road favorite, early conference game. I do lean the favorite, Jim, the roadie.
Yeah, I'm taking the over as my best bet, guys. I'm continuing my total trend. I think Louisville's offense has massively underperformed this year, particularly shooting the basketball. I think we start to see even more of an uptick from that. Noah Locke made some shots against Wake Forest. Hopefully that sets the trend. And I think they can deal with the changing defenses. Mac's a pretty smart game planner.
Yes.
Georgia Tech's going to try to mix it up with that 1-3-1. But again, Louisville with a little more continuity. You mentioned Malik Williams back, gives them that interior threat, more offensive rebounding. I think they can score. And quite honestly, I think Georgia Tech finds a way to score a little bit. and it's up tempo with Parham in there. That's a nice boost to the over. So over 137 is my best bet on that one. And with that, guys, let's get to the chat mod. Kai, you are my czar.
I am your czar, Jim. And let's start with a game that didn't quite make the rundown. For our boy Harry in the chat here, Temple and Houston. It's a 12-point spread right now. Matt in favor of the Cougs, currently heading on the road to the Owls. Houston, we know, has a bunch of injury issues, but does it matter against a team like Temple?
No, Temple's terrible. It's like everything points to betting Temple in this game, which is the disarray of who the hell is going to play for Houston at this point. I think I read that they actually might play some big lineups with Fabian White at the 3.
Oh, God.
Just to kind of get a sense of how dire the guard depth is right now. But Temple's Temple. They can't score against like St. Joe's or Penn. I mean, they're not going to score against Houston. I don't care who's playing. So the more as I talk through it, maybe under. It's a low total, though, 126.
Yeah, I mean, Ken Palm's got it at 131 and it's 126.
And they've shaded it appropriately, right?
Right. I mean, you take out Marcus Sasser, the All-American shot maker for Houston. It feels like an under-y game. I don't really have a take on the side. I want to see what Houston's offense looks like without Sasser and Mark. So we'll see.
Yeah. Next one, Brown Penn from Jordan B. Actually, a couple questions about Brown Penn. Also, little nugget in the chat here. No fans. Andrew Carr for Penn in the stands. Not surprising that an Ivy school has banned the fans. At the Palestra gym, that might matter a little bit. The spread is hovering around pick, I believe. Pick at BetRivers. Penn Brown, who do you got?
Yeah, I think that means Brown has taken some money, and I think rightfully so. Penn has struggled a little bit defensively, especially. Brown has actually played since Christmas, so you have a better idea of who's going to be on the court.
Yep.
Penn dealing with some injury issues in addition to COVID mystery. We don't know who's going to be out there. Maybe Spinoso returns, maybe Slacker returns in the backcourt, which would both be hugely helpful for Penn. But I think my number leans towards Penn, but I can't bet them right now with the question marks they have in the roster.
Yeah, preseason this line would have been, like hit Penn with 100 hammers, but Brown has looked like the better team thus far. So line makes sense, guys. I'm staying away. Marist, Iona. I believe this was a write-in game, actually, not on the original slate. I haven't had a whole lot of chance to look into this one. Matt, courtesy of Brandon, any take here with Marist, Iona? 10-point spread right now at BetRivers.
It's a tricky line. I haven't dug much into it either. I know that John Dunn will probably throw some zone in this game. I think that was a wrench he threw at Pitino last time they played. And Pitino was very complimentary, wow, it really threw our guys for a loop. In general, Dunn's he's been a good coach all season. He's outpaced our expectations, did so last year. It's up to 10, Jim, at most shops. My number likes Iona, but I'm starting to respect the John Dunn effect, especially as a dog here in conference.
Yeah, I might take Iona small just because I do think the line's a little low. But Zhao Ituka, the freshman from Marist, guys, has emerged into an absolute star. He lives at the free throw line, and Iona has a tendency to foul in that sort of pressure-y Pitino system. So if he can get 12 free throw attempts, which isn't outside the realm of possibility for the way he plays, that helps keep him in it. Lets them set up their defense. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably going to feel like a mountain to climb for Iona because of tempo and changing defenses for Marist, but I still lean the Gales' way. They're a lot more talented.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I got 2 more here. Let's burn through them. Both in the Valley. I'm going to give Jim one. I'm going to give Matt one. Jim, I'm going to start with you. Bradley, Indiana State, and darn it, those people that shall not be named that have hit this game overnight and didn't have the courtesy to wait till the morning. But Bradley's up to 3.5 right now. What do you got?
Yeah, that feels high to me. I know that Cam Henry and Jabo Bledson are likely out for Indiana State, or are for sure out. I think they're in protocols. Yeah. But Bradley has some roster questions of their own. I almost feel like this line has shifted because Indiana State's more well covered, Matt. And it's we know who's going to be out for Indiana State. There was a great preview written by the Tribune Star about who's out, their practice issues. They had to take a day off of practice because of booster side effects. But Bradley, we don't know either. So getting more than a field goal at home, I kind of lean towards the Sycamores, Matt, but it is not confident. And it's probably not something I would endorse just because a lot of roster questions on both sides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jashawn Henry, the key one for Bradley. I believe concussion was his issue, why he missed prior to the break. Right. I would think he would have cleared the protocol for that, but you're right. Teams coming out of break, you just don't know. It swung too far. I would lean Indiana State even without Bledson and Henry. They still got some horses in the saddle there. I mean, or Nice. There's enough for Indiana State to play, to keep this competitive even without their two stalwarts on the wing.
Yeah, I was hoping to bet Bradley, but people overreacted. And got too high.
They overreacted, I think.
Matt, for you, last one before we go back to the rundown, Evansville and Northern Iowa. 11-point spread, I believe, in favor of the Purple Panthers.
Yeah, I think the price is sharp. Believe Evansville coming off a COVID pause here, so you have to keep that into consideration. I don't trust UNI as a large favorite right now, especially in the Valley when games can turn into slogs, especially against Evansville. And UNI's defense has been really shoddy. So I guess I lean UNI, but a couple of concerns are keeping me on the sidelines here.
Kind of like the over. You just need Evansville to hit enough shots coming off their COVID pause. That's a concern if they're ice cold.
Yeah. Trey Burhow unexpectedly out last time for Northern Iowa. It was COVID related, I believe. Didn't travel. Who knows? All right, Jim, back to the rundown.
Back to the rundown we go. Remember to hit that like button, chat. We appreciate that. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right, back to the Missouri Valley, Kai, one that is on the outline. Drake at Missouri State. And the gut in me wants to hit Missouri State here, guys. Drake kind of scarred their entire season last year. Missouri State got up in all three meetings, blew it in all three meetings.
Gosh.
And right after Missouri State lost those two games, they went and got blown out by Loyola Chicago. Like, they clearly had a hangover for it. I think this game matters a ton to them. And Drake is probably without Roman Penn, and they've been a different team. So, Matt, why should I not take the Bears? Is the price wrong?
I mean, it's come down to Roman Penn, right? I mean, we've seen the team, Drake just been not the same squad that we saw when he's in there and playing effectively. What I like for Missouri State, Jim, they did play on Thursday against a non-D1 team, and everyone played for Missouri State. So you remove the risk of late player, MIA. Yeah. So, and Sharp's also back. So that's huge. And you have Missouri State coming back from the West Coast just before break against Drake, a team that, right, Jimmy, they beat them twice last year. A lot sets up well for the Bears, Kai. I just think it's an expensive price to lay 4 against Drake.
Yeah, without Penn in the lineup, man, this is a huge Missouri State gut lean for me. 4 is high, and unfortunately, I was hoping it'd be a little bit less than that. Sharp's back, you said, for Missouri State. Drake's 6-1 straight up without Penn in the lineup, but just 2-4 against the spread. And in fact, they're 3-9 against the spread in the Valley, which is the worst in the conference, which is ironic after a year last year in which they covered like 20 games in a row. There's no UCF walking through that door. We've said it once, we've said it 100 times. Roman Penn matters a lot. I'm looking at the big man battle here, Brody versus Prim. Their battles last year in the regular season. Prim, his 2 games, he had 18-16 and 20-14. Brody, 16-15, 4-14, but 4 fouls in both of those games. I think Prim can get him in foul trouble here. I do like Missouri State. Also, Jim, another angle. They're 0-1 in the Valley. Everything points to them being hungry as hell for this game.
Yeah, 0-1 versus 1-0. I think we might have talked me into adding it. Not as an official best bet show, but I think I got to put a little coin on it. Tank Hemphill also missed the non-D1
I was just going to say,
Drake.
Yep.
He
should be back,
but maybe he's not full strength. So, I got to at least, put my money where my mouth is on this one a little bit, Matt.
Agree.
All right, let's stay in the area, guys. The Show Me State nearby you, or your home, at least. You're in Chicago now.
Stopping grounds.
Yep, but this is Richmond at St. Louis. The Bills coming off another COVID pause. Last year, it completely murdered their season, and they're hoping it's not going to do the same thing this year, but they missed out on a game with the aforementioned Drake here in Vegas. Now they get Richmond coming to town. Spiders off an embarrassing effort, Kai. Got blown the heck out at home by St. Joseph's. Can't do that. Do they show some pride on the road here and get a win over a team that maybe has some roster or lack of practice issues?
Yeah, I mean, if you read Travis Ford's comments yesterday, you thought this is a home run spot for Richmond. SLU seems to be super shorthanded. Well, the word is they're missing one guy. And that's not good for a Richmond team that I thought was a great spot for them to bounce back here. Now, what Ford did say, Matthew, and why I'm still liking Richmond and why Richmond is still my hesitates best bet at plus 2.5 is he talked about how they haven't practiced really at all. It's been mostly watching tape. He's not sure they're going to come out and play in this game. Now, lines barely moved, so people probably were in on the fact that they're missing just one guy. Richmond looked awful against St. Joe's. I understand the line and the lack of movement here, but I think Richmond's more prepped for this game. I think they come out strong. Hopefully they keep the Bills off the glass. That's like the number one thing you have to do. But I do like Richmond here, plus 2.5, best bet.
I love Richmond here. I read a local article detailing like the 4 super seniors on Richmond and their sort of mentality and how they're approaching this year. It was written right after the St. Joe's loss, and there's like this weird, it could just be coach player speak, but like this weird optimism and positive vibes, which was my concern that like Richmond after that demoralizing loss to St. Joe was just like, this is the point where they check out of a year when this was supposed to be the bounce back season after last year. And this deja vu stuff keeps happening. It's like, when are they going to finally get over the hump? Chris Mooney, hot seat, all the nonsense off the court. But they seem kind of like in a zen state of mind, Jim. Again, trying to read the tea leaves here. And yeah, catching a SLU team that could be in disarray. I love the Spiders here. The itsy bitsies.
Yeah, yes, it's that buy low spot, but yeah. No, Matt, it's not your best bet. You didn't act out. Like it though. What's your Spartan?
How do you do the thing?
We'll do that
the hand motion.
The spider motion?
Yeah. Is that all it is? You just turn the okay. There's like a more complex bit. No. We'll workshop that on the behind the scenes.
We have work to do there for sure. All right, let's go back to the Big Ten, guys. Ohio State at Nebraska. This one's interesting. Both teams have been off since before Christmas. So a lot of questions with roster. We just don't know for sure if everybody's going to be out there. EJ Liddell should dominate here, Matthew. I don't really see how Nebraska stops him. They don't have the kind of personnel to do so. They don't have the defensive just structure to stop a key star like him. And then in the other end, Nebraska's offense has been a little bit of a mess. They don't have the shooting to play Fred Hoiberg's preferred style. The line did feel a little steep, and Nebraska's taken a bit of money as a bigger home dog, but I don't know how you trust the Huskers right now.
Yeah, I might punch back. Ohio State's dominated Nebraska the last 2 years. They only played once last season, but it was like a 36, was not even competitive. And the DNA of the teams are pretty similar last year, this year. I mean, some personnel changes, but size, inside out, Liddell, key for Ohio State. I don't see who is stopping or how Nebraska is stopping those inside. There's like just easy avenues for points here for the Buckeyes. Mm-hmm. I think those are key mitigating factors to any concerns of like a letdown post Christmas break type of lull here. I think Ohio State rolls. It's a massive spread, even with the early money coming in on Nebraska, Kai, but I still think Buckeyes are the right side here.
Yeah, competent size is a real issue for Nebraska, especially without Breidenbach in the lineup. They don't have any good big guys, and that's a problem against Ohio State, who has a few good big guys. I'm 3 I can think of top of my head, Jim. Ohio State hasn't played since the 11th. They've been off